So I want to assure you that if you give me a chance this time, I assure you I will show up at court because not only is this connected to the state charges, it's also connected to federal things that I have going on that I don't want to discuss.
And then this is Mr. Evans, and it is 3A031231 on for review, and 3A06555525 on for review, and then on for arraignment is 4A04725552, 3A08209191, 4A02318898, and 3A05 49215. And proceeding with the arraignment is your true and correct name, Sylvester Larnell Evans.
Sylvester Larnell Evans Jr.
And what is your date of birth? Earlier we went over your rights to arraignment. Any questions about your rights to arraignment that I wasn't able to answer?
No, I don't have any questions, but I would like to speak with the judge if possible.
And you'll get it in a moment. So, Your Honor, I've gone over the charges, the maximum penalties, any mandatory minimum penalties. Would acknowledge you see the complaint, waive formal reading, ask them to plea of not guilty. And Mr. Evans will need to screen if you would like assistance from the public defender on these new cases.
Plead not guilty will enter. I do find probable cause to, or let me just run through them. On the case ending in 319 is a review. The case ending in 215, probable cause was previously found on November 21st, 23. In the case ending in
I didn't take part in.
just a minute, 5525 is a review. The case ending in 898, probable cause was previously found on April 2nd, 24. The case ending in 191, probable cause was previously found on January 2nd, 24. And in the case ending in 552, probable cause was previously found on May 19th, yesterday. What is the city's recommendation regarding release?
The city is requesting bail or bond amount of 500 on each of the 6 cases. Defendant has a significant warrant fight appear history, including one active warrant out of Tacoma Municipal Court. City believes the defendant is a high risk of future failures to appear. And also the city is requesting the court find sufficient evidence to set bail or bond on the 2 review matters as well. City believes the defendant is a high risk of not complying with court orders and a risk of disruption of administration of justice.
Any objection, Mr. Ionetti?
No,
Yes,
Mr. Evans.
ma'am. I would like to speak. I would like to.
Just a minute. I'm going to talk to your attorney for a second. And then if you want to say something and it's okay with your attorney, I'll hear it then.
Yeah, Mr. Evans indicated that he did want to say stuff, and I told him he couldn't. He also asked me to represent information to the court. He is asking the court to release him on his personal recognizance. He's wants to assure the court that he would show up in person. He said he was not aware of any of his missed court dates. But I think he also wants to address the court, and I told him not to discuss the facts of the case, and he said he understood that.
Okay. All right, Mr. Evans, what do you want to say?
Yes, ma'am. And I do acknowledge the fact that the previous failure to appears, but if you give me a chance at a personal bond this time, I want to deliver a letter to you hand to hand. I will make the court date because I want to deliver a letter with a message to you hand to hand, which also will be attention to Chief Justice Roberts of the Supreme Court. So I want to assure you that if you give me a chance this time, I assure you I will show up at court because not only is this connected to the state charges, it's also connected to federal things that I have going on that I don't want to discuss. But I assure you I will show up. And if you can also, I'm in a tank. I would like to represent myself, and I'm in a tank to where I'm getting mistreated. I'm on 23-hour lockdown. I'm on crutches. I have a leg injury, and it's extremely difficult and mentally strenuous, the things that they're doing to me inside of the jail. That's why I say I want to, if you give me a chance at a personal bond, I assure you I will appear with the letter in my hand for you, for your insight, as well as attention to Chief Justice Roberts so he can be alerted to what's going on. You have my word on that.
You have 17 warrants out of our court alone.
You have my word, Your Honor, that I will appear. I want to.
Sir, with all due respect, you just don't come back. You have 17 prior warrants out of our court. It is your duty to keep your address updated. I think $500 each case is very reasonable, to
I
ensure.
can't afford that at the moment. That's why I was asking for personal recognizance. If you give me a chance, I assure you I will be there because I want to prove that I'm innocent of these charges and I was at the airport on your orders on personal travel.
I have never ordered anyone to go to the airport.
No, the last
We're talking
set of
about
paperwork
the
you
case,
gave me, it
Mr.
said
Evans.
that I can go to the airport for personal travel, and that's the only time I've been there. The only time, I assure you.
I'm imposing bail in the amount of $500 each case.
And also, they have me in a tank to where if I'm representing myself, it's going to be extremely difficult. I don't have any access to the kiosk because it's broke. They have me on 23-hour lockdown. I didn't do anything. I haven't been violent or anything with anyone. They just, for some reason, I'm in a segregation tank. I don't know if it's because of my injury or what, but also it's affected my leg because I'm rehabbing my leg and it's messing with the muscles and nerves because I need to keep my leg active and in motion. And they have me in 23-hour lockdown. I'm not even in general population. So I'm asking
That,
humbly
that's,
and respectfully, could you please grant me one more chance at a PR bond, please?
and Mr. Evans, you have an active warrant right now out of Tacoma Municipal Court.
I'll resolve that as well because when I went to court, they initially told me it was dismissed. So I guess they just put something back out. I'll resolve that as well. But if I humbly and respectfully ask that you please give me one chance to prove myself, please, because it's almost unbearable for me to represent myself and with my leg injury and the conditions they have me in and me getting mistreated in the jail as well.
Okay, I've made up my mind. I'm imposing bail in the amount of $500 each case. Um, and I will appoint Mr. Ionati while you're in custody so that you will have a way. And if you're wanting to do your own research, perhaps you and he can work out a way that he
Ma'am.
can help you.
That's the whole point I was trying to make. Mr. Ionetti is not properly represent me. That's why I want to represent myself. That's how I got back in this situation to where I was reviewed because before I wanted to do a fast and speedy trial, he never filed the motions. That's why I want to represent myself and I asked for a PR bond so I can hand you a letter informing you of everything that's going on, as well as a letter that you can forward to Chief Justice Roberts to alert him what's going on and
I'm
make
not
you.
forwarding anything to Chief Justice Roberts.
I understand, but I have evidence that will exonerate me, and I wanted to hand that letter to you in person. So
Anything you give to the court, you have to give to the city as well. I
I
can't look
understand.
at it unless the city has it as well.
I understand, but I wanted to file it and make sure that you're in position soon as I hand it to you or the courts that they're able to go ahead on and put a seal on it so it's not exposing because anything I send from any letters I mail
So
out
you
from
have
the
to
jail.
make a whole motion to file it under seal. Sir, there's a lot. This is very complicated what you're proposing.
I
Um,
understand, and I have the evidence that proves that will prove and will exonerate me, but I don't want to send everything through this jail because there's so many eyes that's gonna see it. In addition to that, the circumstances and the conditions they have me in is unfeasible. I'm in 23-hour lockdown. I'm in a cell to where there's no access to the kiosk where I can look at the law library. In addition to that, I'm in
Mr.
they,
Ionati, when would you like to set this over till? All
Thursday.
right, Mr. Evans, we'll see you back here on Thursday.
would I be able to request a PR bond at that time or is everything?
No, you're only entitled to one bail hearing unless there's been a change in circumstances.
What about the jail conditions they have me in? I'm in 23-hour lockdown. I didn't do anything. And I'm not even, don't even have access to the law library because the kiosk is busted.
I've appointed Mr. Ionati while you're in custody and or at the very least a standby counsel. You can talk to him about how you want to deal with that.
Okay. And is it okay if I represent myself?
You'll have to go through there's a form to fill out.
Can Mr. Ionetti get me that form, and can this be on record that I'm saying that I want to represent myself and that I need the forms or whatever I need to
Yep.
be, and I would like a fast and speedy trial as well.
Yes, you'll have
Well,
all.
you've said that the speedy trial in custody is 60 days.
I understand that, but I want it on record because last time I told Mr. Ionetti this, he never made any motions to get the process started. That's why I want.
There is no motion to make to get it started. The clock starts ticking at arraignment.
I understand, but I would like to represent myself if
And that's fine. You can represent yourself. I mean, you can file the petition to represent yourself. I don't know whether I'll
it's
accept it.
gonna it's gonna be extremely difficult to do that with the circumstances I'm in.
I can give you the information and go over what you need with you.
They have me in 23-hour
Okay,
lockdown.
thank you, Mr. Evans. We'll see you on Thursday.
That's everything for me, Your Honor. I need to get into the courtroom to do the
You
motions.
guys still trialing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We can come back to that one. This is Mr. Evans.
Hello,
Your Honor, this is Sylvester Evans.
did you get the letter I mailed in, Your Honor?
I did not.
Is the court ready?
Yes.
Okay, I mailed the
One
letter.
second, Mr. Evans. So this is Sylvester Evans. It's 380312319, 480231898, 3806555525, 380820191, 480472552, and 380549215. And I don't believe you were here, Your Honor, on Monday when Mr. Evans was arraigned. But Mr. Evans at that time indicated he wanted to represent himself, and he's also indicated that to me today. I did go over the waiver of attorney on pretrial and arraignment form with him, and explained it to him and talked about it. It sounds like when I spoke with him, because he's in custody right now, I know he wants to address his in custody status with the court, but I figured this needs to be addressed first. We discussed if he's in custody, he needs access to certain things and that unlikely he can get. So he would want an attorney on standby to assist him with that. And I said that I don't have any conflicts, so I don't have any issues doing that if that's the case. But just so the court's aware. But I know he wants to address his conditions of release, but he also wanted to represent himself.
Okay. And I believe Judge Freund did do the jail calendar on Monday. So did you say competency was raised? I didn't quite understand that piece.
Oh no, that I was talking about the other person. Veronica Johnson was who I started to talk about.
Got it.
And then when Mr. Evans walked in, I just said, we'll get to that when we're done with Mr. Evans.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. All right. So Mr. Evans, so
Yes.
we have not yet done the arraignment, right?
No, it was done
It's done. So
Monday. And the city doesn't believe there's any change in circumstances, so would object to defendant's motion
I
to
guess
release or
I
adjust
guess,
bail.
oh, thank you, Ms. Chenoweth. I guess I just for my clarity. So this was on Monday, and we set it again for today for what specifically?
Pre-trial and the
Oh,
tracking reviews.
okay.
Because the court set bail or bond, we set the pre-trials pretty quickly.
I
Got
would
it.
like to speak to Your Honor before we disconnect if possible, please.
All right, Mr. Evans. So it's my understanding that you do not want an attorney to assist you. Is that correct?
Like you said, if he could be on standby, I would like to represent myself because I invoked my right as a Aboriginal Native American Indian chief. That's why I asked if you got that letter. So I have certain constitutional rights that's afforded to me. In addition to that, I have a leg injury where I'm on crutches and they have me in 23-hour lockdown. I didn't do anything wrong. And I was trying to see if it's possible, based on the fact that I invoked my right as an Aboriginal Native American Indian chief, that I definitely will appear at every appearance if I could get a pre-recognizance bond due to the circumstances. I assure you I'll show up, especially that I invoke my right as a Native American Indian chief.
And as the prosecutor stated earlier, Mr. Williams, I guess, what is the change? It doesn't sound as if you're noting any change of circumstance from when the court saw you on Monday and set bail.
I
Well,
can honestly say I don't recall defendant mentioning the Native American part on Monday, but he did discuss the other thing in quite more length than he actually even is today. So the court did have that before it. Now, as far as the other piece that he's presenting today, I state's positions that doesn't change anything, and there's no proof.
I sent the proof in the letter that I mailed
Well,
out.
wasn't provided to the city. I haven't seen any proof, and
I,
I
I
would
mailed,
say
I,
that's not a change in circumstances.
I
Okay,
mailed the
Mr.
letter out
Williams, that
on
was said.
I mailed the letter out on Tuesday with the evidence and the proof invoking my rights as a Native American Indian chief. So I'll be working to get this case removed to the federal courts. I need to also file in the federal courts a notice to remove as well. And it's going to be extremely difficult for me to do that from here in prison. So that's why I was asking if I could get a PR bond. I assure you I'll show up. I'm not going to play with my rights like that as a Native American Indian chief. In addition to that, I'm in 23-hour lockdown with my crutches, and it's affecting my leg. I broke my tibia and fibula in 5, 6 different places. And the muscles and the nerves in my leg are getting worse because I'm not able to rehab it like I'm supposed to.
And Ms. Chenweller, seeing that I wasn't here on Monday, what is the bail currently set at?
500 cash or bond on each of the 6 cases.
And um, does Mr. Williams have, what is his FTA history?
He does have a substantial warrant fight history, including an active warrant out of Tacoma Municipal Court.
As I said,
Also,
Your
has
Honor,
not complied with court orders, and that he repeatedly returns to the airport. We have 4 pre-trials and 2 reviews involving those allegations, the same
and in
allegation before the
addition to
court
that,
today. As warrant failure to history in pretty much every case
What is his
that he
date of birth? I'm trying to find him on Jack's.
my last name is Evans, it's not Williams. And also, there's no evidence that I was trespassing each time I was there on valid personal travel. So this case lacks evidence, which is also why I asked to have it dismissed in the letter as well.
he went into that on Monday
And I,
as well.
and also, I never invoked my right as a Native American Indian chief. This time I did. So therefore, I will not miss not one court date, I assure you. Can you
I'm
please?
not sure what you being a Native American chief has anything to do with you coming to court.
Because I represent a sovereign state, and as a sovereign state, I have the right to have these cases heard before the United States of America, the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And in the letter, I've put the details that prove what I'm saying, and also it should prompt everything to be moved to the United States Supreme Court, especially with some of the details that I put in there regarding my circumstances and what I have going on, which I'm sure Chief Justice Roberts can verify once the process or whatever, which I'm trying to go through the process now, but it's going to be very difficult to do this from inside the jail. But as a chief of a sovereign tribe that's federally and internationally recognized, I have the right constitutionally to go to, I have immunity, and I have the right as a sovereign state to have this case heard before the United States of America. In addition to that, I have different types of immunity that I fall under as well.
All right, Mr. Evans, so I gave you an opportunity to speak just to make sure I understood exactly what was happening in this case since I was not the judge on Monday. I have had an opportunity to review your criminal history, and I do see that you have had warrants in pretty much every case that has been filed against you that I can see in the state of Washington. So right now, I'm not hearing any change of circumstance that would give me any change in circumstance that would allow me to change the bail from $500 on each case. So that will remain as previously set on Monday. Additionally, we need to address the fact that you are requesting a waiver of right to an attorney. I will note that I don't believe that that is in your best interest. I think an attorney would be helpful to you. However, if that is what you would like to do, I want to make sure that you understand that you have one, two, three, four, uh, and you have four cases that are pre-disposition, and it sounds as if you have two review matters, which means you've already entered into some sort of plea on those cases. But on your new cases, do you understand, Mr. Evans, that these are gross misdemeanors?
Yes, ma'am.
And you understand that with that, you could potentially serve up to 364 days in jail and or pay a fine of up to $5,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you understand that you do have a right to have an attorney, have a lawyer represent you in all stages of these proceedings. And if you cannot afford a lawyer, that you have the right to request a public defender,
Yes, Your Honor.
and that a public defender, if you qualify, will be appointed to represent you,
Yes, Your Honor.
and that you may be at a disadvantage if you proceed without a lawyer.
Yes, Your Honor. As I previously
Okay,
stated.
Mr. Evans, I heard everything that you had to say. I just need to make sure that you understand the rights and that you understand that you'll be required to follow all the laws of evidence and court rules which apply to this case. Do you
Yes, Your Honor.
understand that? And that these laws and rules can be technical and complex, and that you may not fully understand them without a lawyer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and that you realize that by proceeding as your own lawyer, if you do not represent if you do not represent yourself in a competent manner, that you will not be able to obtain a reversal of a conviction on the grounds that you received inadequate representation.
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you aware of the risks and disadvantages of proceeding without a lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
And knowing that you still choose to represent yourself, knowing the risks, you freely waive your right to be represented by an attorney.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you are waiving your right to be represented by an attorney.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Uh,
And also, would you be able to look into a oral motion to dismiss due to lack of evidence at this hearing?
you would have to do that, Mr. Evans. You are acting on your behalf as an attorney. So that is a motion that would need to come from you and or your attorney.
I actually mailed in a letter. I was trying to see if the courts received that letter because that was in the letter that I mailed.
Okay, we do not have that letter at this time. So we're going to set this matter for another pretrial hearing.
Could you set it for sometime next week when you guys get the letter so you can understand everything I'm saying?
I believe we
Better?
will have to set it in due course in regards to the court's availability.
Yes, Your Honor.
May I inquire if a copy of that was sent to the city?
I mailed it off to the clerk's office, and also, Your Honor, could you please put on note that I requested that that letter get sealed due to the protection of innocent life, not only mine but others that's at stake due to the information I revealed about me being a Native American Indian chief and the evidence that I've revealed in it. That could you please put on note that I asked that it be sealed immediately?
And again, Mr. Evans, those sort of things need to be done in writing to the court. Mr.
I
Iona, do
did.
you have any concerns about competency?
Um, I and I do, but I am hoping that if the court sets a hearing next week, I think either on Tuesday or Wednesday, perhaps that letter will have come in it might answer. It
Okay, so for right now, I did sign the waiver of attorney, but I am going to allow counsel to remain on standby. Um, let me see when's the next time we can. Wednesday, May 29th.
And also, Yada, I would like also to put on note that I mailed the letter off on a blank piece of paper and I numbered it. If it's kind of difficult to read, you might have to put something on each line because due to the circumstances, that's why I had to mail the letter off. I mailed the letter off. Because I was in a tank to where I didn't have access to anything. They had me in a restrictive tank while I'm on 23-hour lockdown. And I have no access to the law library or nothing.
All right, so we are setting these matters for May 29th at 11 a.m., all matters. If there's nothing else to address, this concludes this matter.
Just want to note for the record that the city is going to object to the motions being heard if we don't receive copies.
Did you hear that, Mr. Evans?
They're gonna, no, ma'am, could you repeat it, please?
The city has stated, since you are acting as your own attorney, that if they do not receive the information that you've provided to the court, that they will be objecting. It is a responsibility of you or your attorney to provide any information to the court and to the prosecutor.
All I can do is mail the letter off. I mailed it off. I don't know if the guards kept it or if it gets lost in the mail. I don't know. I can remail the letter. I can rewrite it and remail it off. But I mailed the letter off. I definitely sent it off, and I have the guard that picked it up. I have documented the guard that picked the letter up. So I definitely mailed it off, and it should be on camera that I handed the letter to the guard.
All
The
right, well,
city's entitled to an opportunity to respond. We would need it at the very latest by Monday. I mean,
I
if we're
mailed
setting it
the
for Wednesday.
I mailed the letter off Tuesday. So
all
it
right, so
may
we
get there
will,
today or tomorrow because it shouldn't take no more than 1 or 2 days for it to get right there to CTAC court. I mailed it to the 4800 188th Street and I put on there to the clerk. I attentioned it to the clerk. So that letter shouldn't take that long. If it doesn't come to you guys, that means it got lost in the mail or something like that, and I would have to rewrite it. I do have a rough draft of it. So I will be able to read it out to you verbatim Wednesday if you like, if you haven't received the letter by Wednesday. I did keep a rough draft of the letter, so I could read it out to you verbatim. Or if you don't mind, if you could give me a second, I can go and get the rough draft out of my cell right now and read it to you.
no, we are not ready to address that today. So we will
Okay.
address these matters again on Wednesday, May 29th. All right, so this concludes this matter. Bail, as I stated, will remain as previously set, as well as all previous conditions of release.
Thank you. Then we have to put the bail amounts in.
Yes, that's what I am
Thank you.
doing. And it's 500 each case, right, Ms. Chenweller?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Could I get a copy of the paperwork, please?
You will receive a copy of the paperwork. All right, this concludes this matter. Have a good day, Mr. Evans.
Same here. God bless.